Hi FS 575. I'm Rebecca Vindas, presenting on behalf of Group 2, which is Anna Dice, Ashley Sabo, Carla Bonilla, and myself, on the Quality Management System ISO 9000. After you're done watching this presentation, you'll be able to define ISO 9000, differentiate between ISO 9000 and ISO 9001, explain the 7 principles of quality management per this system, understand the necessity of this quality management system in food production, think about an example of ISO 9000 in food production, and understand the advantages and disadvantages of using this particular quality management system. So what is ISO 9000? The ASQ has a glossary definition of what ISO 9000 is, but in short, it's a set of international standards that were developed by the ISO, International Organization for Standardization. They're standards on quality management and quality assurance, all about that documentation of your quality systems and the elements you need to implement to maintain an effective system. The standards are a foundational quality management system. They're general enough so that lots of different industries of very different sizes can use them. That includes the food industry. The series was originally published by ISO in 1987, but it's had some major revisions since then, including the most recent one to the standards ISO 9000 and ISO 9001 in 2015. Within the ISO 9000 series, there are also 7 principles of quality management that we'll talk about quite a bit. Here's an overview of the 4 ISO 9000 standards currently as of August 2018. There's ISO 9001 2015. This provides just the overall requirements for the quality management system. It's the only standard within ISO 9000 that an organization can get certified to. So when you hear that someone's ISO 9000 certified, they're actually ISO 9001 certified. It's often used in conjunction with other ISO management systems, like ISO 22000, which is food safety management. There's also ISO 9000 2015. It provides that fundamental vocabulary and knowledge that you need to really understand the series. A big note here is that ISO 9000 is the name of the series of standards in this quality management system, but it's also the name of a standard within the series, so that's not confusing at all. Then there's ISO 9004 2009. This standard provides some guidance for just using continuous improvement within an organization. And then finally, there's ISO 19011 2011, and that provides guidelines for auditing. So here are the 7 principles of quality management within ISO. There's customer focus, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision making, and relationship management. So let's talk more about those. First of all, customer focus. You really got to understand the needs of your current and future customers. You can do that by implementing things like complaint handling, customer relationship management like call centers. Then there's leadership. Leadership really sets the vision. It sets the direction and challenging goals within an organization. Leadership is a fundamental principle of ISO 9000. Leaders have to also empower their employees and recognize them for their contributions. Then there's also the engagement of people. You have to engage your people. You have to hold them accountable and take advantage of their skills. You can do things like that by providing cross-training to help that employee carry out some other tasks in areas that they may not be as strong in and that they're interested in. There's also giving them autonomy in decision making. That's important to keep them engaged and feel like they're contributing to the organization. Number 4, a principle of ISO 9000 is the process approach. It's understood that each activity that contributes toward a common goal, that end result. The activities are organized, they're managed like processes, they have to have their capabilities measured, and their relationships have to be identified. Then there's improvement. Improvement is a huge hallmark of ISO 9000. There has to be ongoing improvement of the product, the service, and the processes that you have in your organization. You can implement things like Six Sigma and total quality management to help you here. Then there's also evidence-based decision making, which is really important. Decisions have to be made not only based on that practical experience that you have, but also on some accurate, easily accessible, and reliable data. Finally, there's relationship management, and this is a big one in terms of cost reduction and cost optimization. Have to manage those relationships with your suppliers and your partners, looking at those long and short-term goals, and taking costs that don't add value into account so you can eliminate them. Moving on, we'll talk about an example of using ISO 9000 by talking about a hypothetical hot dog manufacturing company. First of all, this company had to define their issue. They were having an issue with customers complaining that the hot dog length that they're producing is too short. It doesn't reach the bun end, so they're eating way too much bread. The company went into action. They implemented ISO 9000, and they realized that they need to allocate some resources to the design of a longer hot dog. And they also really need to reduce waste. There's a lot of wasted time, wasted employee effort, other bigger issues that are causing wasted resources. So they went on, they built a team that went over the issue and started problem solving. Got everyone at the same goal. They established a primary goal and a vision for the team. And they promoted that commitment and contribution of everyone. They involved people on the line, they involved leaders, middle management, and they celebrated their victories. They looked at this whole process as one single management process. Activity management, resource management, and production time management, they become a single task. We have to reduce waste. We have to contribute to reduce waste. Now that we're contributing and focusing on waste reduction, the team can actually focus on lower cost production of producing a longer hot dog, since waste is not as big of an issue as it was before. The hot dog is improved from its original version, and it actually reaches bun length, taking this process into account. The next step would be completion and improvement. So they envisioned their goal, they got their hot dog to reach their bun length with help of everybody. So now the company is able to continue producing, they're able to continue improving and focus on other areas where they may be able to improve besides the bun length and besides wasted resources that they had. They're seeing better profits and better efficiency. They also have a more desirable reputation. The customer has set standards this whole time for what they're looking for. They want a better hot dog. So the company had that experience in making better decisions and establishing those better relationships with their customers, their suppliers, and their partners in order to make this happen. By implementing this quality management system, they're able to make quick and effective decisions on making better products for their customers. Now, as with every single quality management system, there are advantages and there are disadvantages. So let's talk about the advantages of ISO 9000. An advantage is that ISO 9000 will probably increase an organization's marketability. Customers look for that stamp of approval. They like seeing a company that's certified. It means that the company probably went above and beyond to get that certification. There's also some reduced operational expenses. If you focus on improvement of operations like we talked about in our hot dog example, you'll be able to see reduced waste and reduced expenses. You have better management control because you have a lot of documentation that goes into ISO 9000. There's a lot of self-assessment as well, so you have a very good understanding of the goal. There's also increased customer satisfaction because the point of ISO 9000 is to produce a better quality product. So you'll have more satisfied customers. You'll also be improving internal communications because you have all that documentation and self-assessment. You have to get people on the same page in order to get these improvement methodologies to stick. There's also a reduction in risk with your product liability. There is less variation in your product, so you have more consistency and there's fewer errors. ISO, one of the biggest things here is that ISO is internationally recognized. It's a certification that people around the world are going to recognize. There are some disadvantages to ISO though. There's a big cost associated with establishing ISO. It can cost a company tens of thousands of dollars to implement from start to finish. And for small businesses, this may just not be feasible at all. Even big companies might struggle with the next disadvantage, not having an adequate understanding of the program. We may have gotten training and we may be lead auditor certified here, but people still may not quite understand the program and what they need to do to implement it. There's a lot of time that goes into documenting and auditing to also stay compliant. There's a long length of time that it takes to become certified. In order to get your organization up to speed, it can take 1 to 2 years. There's also that perceived value. So customers are looking for that certified stamp. They're associating it with a higher quality. And if you can't meet their higher quality expectations, that might lower their perception of you and of the certification. And this certification might even stunt some innovation There's some extensive documentation that goes into just the series in and of itself, not just the certification ISO 9001, and it could just reduce their ability to grow. So now that we've completed our discussion of this quality management system, ISO 9000, we have a question for you to answer in the Facebook group or on the discussion board that Dr. Joyner creates. How do you as a boss ensure that your employees have adequate resources for quality improvement? Post your answer in the Facebook group or in the discussion board. We also reserved a slide for Q&A. If you have any questions for us regarding the system, please post in the Facebook group and we'll answer your questions here and we'll update the presentation. Here are credits for our wonderful images. Thank you.